recognize anybody up there from
For
Gretna.
Gretna.
Yeah.
No, we got 3 on each table, remember?
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Sarpy County Joint Public Hearing as required by Nebraska State Statute LB 644. That better? Good evening. Ooh. Welcome to Sarpy County Joint Public Hearing as required by Nebraska State Statute LB 644. My name is Tammy and I will be the facilitator for this evening. The Property Tax Request Act is the only item on tonight's agenda. There will be no votes cast tonight. Today is Thursday, September 22nd, 2022, and it is now 6:06 p.m. Please note a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the sign-in table to my left. If you would, please silence all cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, I want to thank the Papillion Vista Community Schools and Papillion Self for allowing us to utilize this wonderful facility. I, along with our county's IT support staff, our Sarpy County Sheriff deputies, and the Chief Deputy and staff from our County Clerk's Office are here to assist with this joint public hearing. Second, welcome to the tax entities and the representatives who will be presenting tonight. These are the entities headquartered in Sarpy County and include only the entities that are, quote, increasing their tax request above 2% plus growth, unquote. Other counties are also hosting or have hosted joint public hearings for entities headquartered in those required under Nebraska State Statute LB 644 Section 3A. This evening, per the agenda, all tax entities will be allowed to present their budgets. I reiterate, no votes will be cast tonight. We will first be hearing from each of the cities alphabetically, and then we will be hearing from the schools, again, alphabetically. They are all sitting here behind me, with the cities to my right and the schools to my left. The representatives will be giving up to 10 minutes to present, and we ask the representative to begin by introducing themselves to our audience. Once we have heard from these entities, and depending upon the time, we may take a 10-minute intermission to allow everyone to stretch their legs and compose their thoughts. We will then invite you, our audience, to make comments. Since every entity and taxpayer have different situations, unfortunately, it will be impossible to address specifics tonight, so we are allowing comments only. No questions will be answered, but anyone with questions to contact your specific representative. If you have not already signed in, please do so at the sign-in table. This is also where the public microphone for comments is located. We will be asking you for your name and address for the record, and if you are speaking for or representing anyone, as required by Nebraska State Statute LB 644 Section 4D6. We ask that once you come up to the microphone to speak, please state your name and address. For privacy concerns, you may decline providing your full address. Everyone will get 2 minutes to express their comments or concerns. Please remember that this is a public meeting and everyone up here this evening is a public servant. So let's strive to be courteous and respectful to everyone, as I'm sure you will be. I will now welcome our first representative from the city of Bellevue for our first presentation.
Good evening.
My name's Rich Severson. I'm with the city of Bellevue. Now, I'm Rich Severson. I'm with the city of Bellevue, and to let you know, I'm a homeowner and I own some land out west, and I understand the burden of property taxes. However, I'm also with the city of Bellevue. I am their finance director. I take that seriously, and my job is to put together the budget and to effectively allocate those resources. So, there's certain things that we have to tell you here tonight. So I'm going to go through the information. I'm going to try to be informative. I'll try to be brief, and then I'll be gone. Here's some of the things that we have to tell you. The name is the city of Bellevue. Our tax request is $30,290,374.03. The amount of valuation that was this year over the assessed values last year is 8.7% increase. The tax rate, that if we would apply a tax rate to this year's valuation to get last year's amount of taxes, that lower amount, it'd be 56 cents. The city of Bellevue this year, though, it will be assessing a tax rate of 61 cents, which is the same rate that we've done since 2014. Yes, the valuations go up and down. Our rate we've set, and so some, if their valuation goes up, they'll pay more taxes. If their valuation goes down, they will pay less. The total operating budget this year over last year went up 1.7%. And here, I'll have this on our website tomorrow, and you can see the math that's done to get to those numbers. This is the form that goes in our budget packet, and you'll see that you can get to the same numbers from that budget form. Here's our operating budget for the year, this year and next year. And what you'll see here is the expenditures at the top. We've gone through and we make sure that we can get our mission done, so we ask each of the departments to come tell us what they need. And that $109 million is this year's budget, and you can see it's up 1.7% from last year's 107. But what you don't see is there's some, let's call it, negotiations going on, because what they want was not what they got. That $109 million is a number that we had to work on after actually taking about $1.5 million out of the police and fire request and about $10 million out of capital projects. So that's some of the streets that we just said we can't do it all. So the $109 million, we did work on it. And I got to say, I'd probably say no a lot more than say yes there at the city. The revenues are what we have to cover those. And you can see there's a whole laundry list of things like sales taxes and permits and other things. Well, but we get down to the bottom of that and you see it's only about $79 million to cover $109 million. The rest is property taxes. And that's why the property taxes for this year is $30 million. And that's even after dipping into our reserves for $3 million. I know that we could reduce the ask, but from this point that would require some pretty draconian measures and getting rid of some of the public safety people and some of the street crews. And the administration is in agreement that for this year, that's probably not something we're gonna do at this time. Over the next year, we'll take a look and see what we can do to make sure that property taxes are proper. The other thing we're supposed to do is send a postcard with some information. There's the information by statute that you're supposed to collect. This should look pretty close to what you received. It gives you all the information. It starts with your last year's assessment, then it shows you this year's assessment, and then it lists the political entities that were over the allowable growth. It does not list every entity on your tax bill. But what you can see then is your last year's gross amount of taxes that you paid to, let's say, the city of Bellevue, and then you'll see what we expect you'll pay this year, an increase. Then you'll see the hearing. You must have figured that out because you're here. Then what we're going to do is the city council will, for the city of Bellevue, vote on a resolution setting the tax request, that 30 million, which is at a tax rate of 61 cents. And then they will also vote on an ordinance for the total budget. And then next week, we will go ahead and send that off to the state. So that kind of goes through all of the information that we were required to talk about tonight. And yeah, I did ad lib a little bit, but I think we're doing what we can to keep the spending at a reasonable level in Bellevue to provide the kind of services that the city of Bellevue needs. And there are going to be some initiatives in the works that we're hoping over the next couple of years will take some of the pressure off of those property taxes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rich.
Sorry, I can't answer.
Nope.
Right?
Nope, correct. Public comment will be available after the meeting, public comment will be available after the presentations are done. Comments, yes, sir. Now, City of La Vista, please.
Oh, it doesn't stay up. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. My name is Pam Beathy, and I'm representing the City of La Vista. The fiscal year 2022-2023 budget was carefully constructed to meet the needs of our growing community. It continues an approach of balancing the strains associated with growth, aging infrastructure, and the desire to grow and expand quality of life amenities to meet citizen expectations and attract visitors. The proposed spending plan not only maintains a stable and predictable municipal tax rate with the high level of service to which La Vista residents are accustomed, it also includes an expanded level of services to accommodate the growth in and around City Center, City Park, and the capital investment necessary to continue achieving strategic priorities. The following service areas require noticeable enhancements based on growth. Public safety will be impacted by increased activity, increased calls for service, and parking enforcement. Public Works will handle increased operations and maintenance associated with the Link facility, Central Park, City Center, and the enhanced streetscape and new public plaza spaces. The Recreation Department will also have new opportunities to plan and prepare for with the addition of the Link and the new public spaces. As a result of the increasing demands, staffing will increase to help meet those demands. The 2022-2023 property tax request will be set at $11,991,007. The total assessed value of property differs from last year's total assessed value by 11%. The tax rate, which would levy the same amount of property taxes as last year, when multiplied by the new total assessed value of property, would be 0.485892 cents per $100 of assessed value. The City of La Vista proposes to adopt a property tax request that will make its tax rate to be 0.54 cents per $100 of assessed value, same as last year. And based on the proposed property tax request and changes in other revenue, the total operating budget for the City of La Vista will exceed last year's budget by 21%. To obtain more information regarding the increase in the property tax request, citizens may contact the City of La Vista at 402-331-4343 and or by email at budget@cityoflavista.org. Thank you for your time.
I do apologize. I had the wrong sign up for the City of La Vista. It is now the Bellevue Public Schools time. Please come up.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm Susan Brooks, Director of Finance with Bellevue Public Schools. Just going to wait for him to get my presentation up. Okay, thank you. When valuation increases, state aid decreases. The valuation increase in the District of Bellevue Public Schools is 8.7%, just like in the city this year. Our state aid is decreasing 1.62%. The overall expected revenue increase with property taxes and state aid for 22-23 is 2.58%. This slide shows the decrease in state aid over the last 4 years, beginning at 52,618,448, and this year decreasing to 49,714,733. This slide shows the property tax request increasing over 4 years, starting at 34,097,247, ending at 41,626,690. That increase over 4 years is actually 1.36%, even though I know it's big numbers, just to give you some perspective. This is the same numbers, it's just stacked to show you the total picture of our revenue, state aid and property tax combined in 2019-2020 was $86,715,695. 4 years later, in 22-23, state aid and tax revenue combined will be $91,341,423, which over the 4 years is a total growth of 5.3%, an average growth of 1.3% each year. No, let me go back. Oops, sorry. So sorry. This one also just shows you state aid versus property tax. Again, as state aid, as valuation goes up, state aid goes down. Okay, so in Bellevue Public Schools, proposed property tax request for 22-23 in the general fund is $41,626,690. That's a proposed levy of $1.05. In the bond fund, it's $5,643,854 at a proposed levy of 15 cents for a total tax request of $47,270,544, which is an increase of 1.46% overall. The total levy in Bellevue, I think it's on a later slide, but I'll just say it, is actually decreasing a penny from $1.21 to $1.20. Okay, property tax rate when levying the same amount of property taxes as last year would be $1.115747 per 100 of tax assessed value. The proposed property tax levy of $1.20 per 100 of assessed value for 22-23 is down 1 penny from last year. Based on the proposed property tax request and changes in other revenue, the total operating budget of Bellevue Public Schools will increase by 1.6% overall. The budget for specific information is as follows: 1.53% increase in the general fund and a 0.062% decrease in the bond fund.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. City of Gretna, or not, School of Gretna.
Good evening, Travis Lytle, Assistant Superintendent with Gretna Public Schools. This is our joint special tax hearing for 22-23 school year. So the proposed tax request, we tax for 3 funds. So we tax for the general fund for our general operating budget for this year is $40,153,484. Our building fund, taxing for $1,818,182. Combined, those 2 funds create a levy of $1.05. And our bond fund is taxing for $17,398,892. The bond fund is our largest increase from last year. That's a result of the 2020 bond that was passed by the citizens of Gretna, where we're adding 3 schools and other additional projects. This bond fund increase is also the reason that Gretna Public Schools is participating this evening. That put us up over the allowable growth. If we were the same bond tax levy as last year, we would not be required to participate. So the total property tax request for this year is $59,370,558. So the total assessed value of property that differs from last year's total assessed value, we had a 12.1% increase in valuation. 6.3% of this 12.1 is real growth, where we're turning empty lots into homes or improvements. So the tax rate, which would levy the same amount of property taxes as last year when multiplied by the new total assessed value of property, would be $1.280127. So if we were not to increase our budget at all, the levy would be just over $1.28. So why is it going up? The main reason, as mentioned earlier, is the voter-approved bond issue is our largest reason for increasing the budget. The student growth, when we build new houses, we have new students, and new students require new staff, which add expenses to the district. Our state aid. Thank you. Our state aid is decreasing. I know that was mentioned earlier, and I believe will be mentioned again. As valuations increase, state aid is decreasing for Gretna by over $600,000. And salary and benefit increases for staff. So the district proposes to adopt a property tax request that will cause its tax rate to be $1.485266 per $100 of valuation, or $1,485.66 per $100,000 of valuation. So based on the property tax request and changes in other revenues, the total operating budget of the district will increase or decrease by, this slide's a little misleading. General fund, we actually have a 6% increase, but the general fund only makes up 33% of the operating budget. The bond fund, as mentioned earlier, as a result of the 2020 bond issue, is increasing 49%. It only makes up 7% of the total operating budget. And the special building fund, this is the fund where our construction projects run their money through, is actually decreasing from last year 9%. That is our largest fund and makes up 60% of our overall operating budget. So therefore, overall, putting those together is actually decreasing the operating budget of 2%. So if you need more information, my contact information is behind me. Thank you for attending.
Thank you very much. And then our last presenter is from Papillion La Vista Public Schools.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Maybe? Better? Yeah? Great, thank you. My name is Andy Rickley, Superintendent of Papillion La Vista Community Schools. I've been in this position for 10 years. Okay, thank you. Is that better? Better? Okay. Just want to thank you all for being here. I know you all have busy lives, families, social events that you left to be here this evening, so to spend an hour with us really does mean a great deal, so thank you for your attendance. I've got 9 slides that I'll walk you through, and I believe I can advance. And I want to make sure this is working. Lovely. Okay, so my format will kind of follow with the other 3 school districts you've seen already. You'll see evaluation increase in the Papillion La Vista Community Schools of 9%. As previous speakers have noted, this is a balancing scale. This is how TIOSA works. As one number goes up, then the other number goes down. So our state aid is actually going down 7.1%. You can see the corresponding number. I think the bottom line number that many of our taxpayers may be interested in seeing is what is happening with our revenues overall. So when you see one number going up, one number going down, you're seeing a net increase of 3.29%, which will be shown in subsequent slides. This shows what's happening with our state aid. I think as taxpayers, you need to know that traditionally Nebraska is in the bottom 5, traditionally been actually in the bottom 2 in terms of the amount of state aid that is given from the state to local school districts. That directly impacts your bottom line as a taxpayer, because if you were getting fewer dollars from your state, guess who's on the hook? The local taxpayer is. So it's important to remember where the state factors in this conversation. Our property tax, because our state aid is going down, our property taxes are going up. And then this combines those 2 metrics so that you can see what's happening with both our state aid and our property taxes. The yellow bar on those 4 years represents the state aid, which is slowly going down. The gray bar represents the property taxes, which are going up to offset those losses. Oops, sorry. So what does that mean for our taxpayers? You're going to see a general fund of approximately $78.8 million. I think a question I'd be asking if I were sitting in the audience is, where are those dollars going? As with most of the other public school districts in Sarpy County, typically 80% or more of dollars are allocated towards staff. For us, that number is 86%. And of that 86%, the single largest number goes to our teachers. We have 1,800 employees in the Papillion La Vista Community Schools. Over 900 of them are teachers. Our teachers want and expect raises, and they should get them. They're working their tails off. That's the main driver on our budget. Our bond fund is $18 million and change. That represents the principal and interest that we're paying. It's a little bit like your mortgage payment on your house, where you pay mortgage every month, where the principal and interest is getting paid off. That's how our bond fund works. Special building fund, which is just under $2.1 million. That's maintenance, that's roofs, that's HVAC, things that go wrong with the buildings that have to be replaced. Total amount is $99 million when you add up those numbers. So, what is the property tax rate if we would have applied this amount to last year? 1.176937 per $100 of assessed value. We are actually decreasing the levy, which means our overall levy will be $1.26 and change, down from $1.28 and change. I think it's important for our taxpayers to know our levy for the last 5 years has remained stable or gone down. It's been stable 1 year and it's gone down the other 5. So when you add up all of our main levies, the general fund, the bond fund, and the special building fund, you'll see it's a mixed bag. General fund is going up just under 3%. Again, the main driver on that is staff, salaries, and benefits. I think if you looked at the spending in the Papillion La Vista Community Schools over the last several years, it's typically been between 3 and 3.5% growth, which interestingly tracks with inflation up until this last year where we're seeing over 9% growth in inflation. Our bond fund is going up slightly for those increased principal and interest payments as we pay off some of our previous debt, and our special building fund is plummeting. The main reason why that's going down so much is that's where we run the dollars from our bond funds to do the projects. So as we wrap up our 2018 bond, you're seeing fewer dollars flowing in and out of our special building fund. So when you combine those three numbers, 2.8% increase, 2% increase, and a 48% increase, you're looking at overall property tax requests decreasing 8% overall. 8%. Going back to, sorry, I don't know if I can reverse, 8%. And then for our taxpayers or anybody else that's interested, our board meetings are always the second, fourth Monday of the month. We have one coming up next Monday, the 26th, 6 p.m. We've presented the budget, but we have not approved the tax ask, so we have our tax hearing next Monday evening, 6 p.m. Whether you're a resident or not, we would love to have you there. And on behalf of the board and administration, again, I want to thank you guys for being here this evening. I know this is very, very important for all of us. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. This concludes the first half of tonight's joint public hearing. Since the first half of this meeting has concluded in a very timely manner, we will proceed to the second half and allow comments. Remember, if you want to comment, you will need to sign up at the table at the side of the auditorium to the left. We will remind you that once you come up to the microphone to speak, please state your name, address, and any entity you are representing, if any. Everyone will get 2 minutes to voice their comments. So please make your way to the sign-in table's microphone in the order you are called, please.
I'm going to call 3 names: Sean Green, Terry Russell, and Lance Molina, please.
It will be comments, you'll need to sign in.
Good evening. I'm Sean Green. I'm from Bellevue. I've been a resident for 30 years, and I'm retired from the Air Force. This is a pretty perplexing situation because what we're witnessing is an adversarial relationship between our schools and our citizens. It seems to be that each year we're experiencing what you might call exponentially high increases in our taxes. It's getting to a point where we are very frustrated because we don't understand. But what we do know is that these tax increases are not beneficial to our communities. We know that these tax hikes will affect our cost of living, will affect our senior citizens, our retirees, our low-income citizens, military service members, and the housing market. Reducing taxes increases discretionary spending. That means that we choose to spend on our children, we care for our elderly relatives, we support local businesses, and we support good causes like charities. We see all over the world people are reducing taxes because their governments are going broke. We're giving our money to our government, and they are choosing to spend it on expensive prestige projects. And we're talking about our schools. I see waste every day. We're giving it to our politicians, and they're steering it to supporters and pet causes, interest groups against each other for grants and subsidies, and the only group not represented in this carve-up are us taxpayers. We need to be careful because taxation can undermine our morality, crowds out charity, rewards power, undermines personal responsibilities, promotes group conflict, and influences governments and the public into making bad decisions. I propose that we need to get smarter here. We have this, what we call a repressive tax system, which means the lowest paid people are affected more. We need to be looking at proportional taxing, where we're all in some way
And we need
paying
to
the
wrap it up,
same.
please.
Okay, I just want to let you know that we need to create a dialogue because we're not meeting each other's expectations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Terry Russell. I'm from La Vista. I don't agree with La Vista's asking for more tax dollars because I see waste constantly. I mean, our streets are not being maintained properly. Yet we're building frivolous things like an underpass or a big arch over a city when that money can go to our streets and maybe some of it back to our school districts. Lower our taxes and I spend more. Shop local, they tell me. There's not a grocery store in the city of La Vista. Wouldn't that be an ideal place? I'd shop it. I try to buy local. But when I see my tax dollars being wasted, and then on the ballot, they want to keep increase the ½ cent sales tax so our maintenance and street can be updated. Whoa, wait a minute. My streets aren't being updated. They're not being maintained. So don't tell me that you need an increase of my property tax when you aren't doing what I've already paid for. I don't understand this. Yet you say, well, we're spending your money, we're watching it wave out the door. I agree with the property tax for the schools. I have the utmost admiration for the schools and what the teachers are doing, and they deserve everything they get, if not more. But what our city council does, and them, they all need to take a decrease in pay and say, hey, we'll do this for free. Then our property tax might go down. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lance Molina. I live in Gretna at 11322 Northridge Drive in Gretna. I'm pretty sure all of you here are upset with the property tax increases. But I need to say this, Gretna's property taxes are out of control. We are the highest property tax in the entire state of Nebraska. Where does that money go? I will say this, Gretna is doing something with its tax increase. Would you like to know what they are doing with it? Let's talk about it. For one, all of our new buildings are being built from the DLR group. Guess how long it's been since that contract has been bid? It's been since I was in high school and I'm turning 40 this year. How about this? They're also building things like putting air conditioners in the schools because we need nice air conditioners. However, all of them are being done and provided by a company called Syscool, which just owned by the school board vice president. They're also buying land at $50,000 an acre. Oh, by the way, my 1/8 of an acre land that I am paying taxes on was less than that. All right, almost though, pretty close. They're also, for that land they're buying, they're paying the treasurer's father of the school board to provide these services. This is how much my property tax has gone up. It's probably small compared to yours. Mine's going up $348, That's food for my children. The school is taking food out of my children's mouth, and you act like it's nothing. This has got to stop. Not to mention, this amount of money right here won't even pay the superintendent a half a day. That's how much money he's making a day. Where's the money going, staff? It's not going to the teachers. By the way, the teachers' raise was considerably less than the property tax increase, so their raise is gone because of this property tax increase. Take a look at where you're spending money. Gretna doesn't need a jumbotron at its football field. We don't need this ridiculous opulent spending. Stop.
Jerry Huff, Kyle Roan, Kathleen Keller.
Hello, I'm Jerry Huff from 1709 Wayne Street in Bellevue. Lived here since September 94. Started out the taxes were pretty good. They didn't have a problem with them. But here lately they've gone up almost vertically. It's getting to the point I just can't afford taxes anymore. And you guys wonder, well, why is everybody leaving the state? Here's a clue. Higher taxes going up at a rapid rate. My valuation went up $21,000 just in 1 year. How is that possible? I didn't make those changes to my house. I know there's inflation, and now we're going to have a recession coming. Thanks to the clown in the White House, we're going to have higher income taxes next year. I'm just getting so fed up with this, and then I'm watching my 401s, all my retirement funds going down the toilet, while my costs are all going up. I thought I was going to be retiring here maybe in the next 2 or 3 years. Hell, I'm going to have to work till I drop dead at this rate. Either that or just put a gun to my head and put an end to this shit now. Thank you for your time.
My name's Kyle Roan. I live in Bellevue. When this country was founded on the notion of popular sovereignty. For those of you that want an explanation of that, is that these people that are governing us get their power from the consent of us, the governed. And when the Bellevue finance guy and all his hats was up there, it sounded much more like a command and we're going to do this than it was a request. Don't forget, folks, we are all here because their request is above 2% plus growth. This year, that's 3.4%. How many people in this room got a 2% raise on their paycheck last year? Mayor, why aren't you raising your hand from Bellevue? You got a 2% raise, guaranteed, every year, no matter what the problem is. Does anybody else get that? This is a bad time to tax people, period. All you people up there in your number crunchers, you need to take your belt and do the same daggum thing we're all doing in here, tightening it up. A budget guy, like last night when I went to Omaha, he said, this is a difficult budgeting environment. You damn right it is. Everybody in here that has a budget, is it hard for you now? Are they making it any easier for you? Shame on y'all.
My name is Kathleen Keller. I live in Bellevue. I recently moved here, and it's a wonderful community. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm really sickened by what's happening. Most of us here are on fixed incomes, and we don't have a way to increase our pay. So we are constantly, we're going to the gas, go and get groceries, whatever we're doing, right? I'm going to be wearing the same clothes for the next 100 years. I mean, it has to stop because we are all tightening our belts, right? We're all tightening our belts. And that means that you all somehow have to figure out how do you tighten your belts. I'm very much pro-safety, pro-police. We need those people. We need the teachers. Thank you for the job you are doing. But I know, because when previously where I worked, and I won't say, right, but when you start looking at administration and everything that's happening from the people who are making the decisions and not really out there doing the jobs, there are things that can be cut, and really tough decisions need to be made, like now.
John Portera, Joe Medakovich, Carol Ann Valverde.
Good evening. John Portero, 10212 Emmeline Street, La Vista, Nebraska, 68128. First off, I want to thank everybody here. And the question I would have to us out here is, why aren't there more? It comes down to fiscal responsibility. If you look at your property tax, there's two things that come into mind right now. One is the state statute, which states actual value of a home. The second one is the Uniformity Act of our Nebraska Constitution. Some of you have homes here that have been in existence 15, 20 years, yet your taxes have gone up, your assessed value has gone up $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. If you look at homes being sold in the area, those homes are being sold for $400,000, $500,000. Those homes are being used to do your evaluation. Now, the county will claim that it's not sales chasing, but if you look at their data on that, that's exactly what it is, because it says market data sales report. For example, one house that sold recently in La Vista sold for over $400,000. Its assessed value is around $300,000. I'm sure all of us would like that same percentage of decrease on ours. So it starts with you protesting your taxes and look at the Nebraska statutes and the uniformity clause. Second, on bonding, a gentleman stated that we don't need to have a jumbotron, was it, in a facility? I think the district and education has gone away from the educational values of our youth to getting their name in the paper for having the best high school sports team. I played sports, I'm not against that, but I never had the facilities like this. If you look, this particular, for example, this particular structure here had a swimming pool in it, and that was voted on in the bond. Now, if you look at that, that's bond integrity. When they decided not to put that in, they set aside that $750,000. That $750,000 in kind was used to finance Foundation Field. So, you need to look, when you go to do a bond, look at that. We don't need $1 million place for students to go to have things. If you want to spend the money, Mr. Ricky or anybody in this district, spend it on education, spend it on trade schools. Do something that they can have for their future development. I know I'm going over my 2 minutes, and I'll try to wrap this up, but I think it's unfortunate that sometimes they get 10 and we get 2. On bonding issues, if you look at when those bonds are presented, it's usually presented in a primary election term. Most people do not go to the polls in a primary. They will go at a general election.
Please wrap it up, sir.
This is it. So what needs to happen is you need to contact your representatives and have them switch that. So if you want a say in how your money is presented, then have that bond issue at a general election where you'll have more people voting on it.
Thank you, sir.
The last thing on this, homeowners pay a higher proportionate share than people who rent homes. 37% people live in apartment complexes, and I get it, I really do. You look at evaluations, there's an apartment complex that's valued at $10 million per unit. However, their evaluations went down over $200,000 per unit. Okay, we're not supposed to answer questions, but one that you, when you go home tonight, say, how can this happen? And figures, 2% on a teacher's salary is nothing. My wife was a teacher. She taught for over
Sir,
30
your time
years.
has expired.
A percentage of increase on a six-figure salary is totally different. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I apologize for going over.
My name is Caroline Valverde, and I live in Bellevue. My name is Caroline Valverde, and I live in Bellevue. My frustration is regarding the allowable growth increase. Apparently, these estimated increases exceed the allowable limits. We all have to live within our budgets. So shouldn't the representatives of Bellevue City, Omaha School Board, and the Metro Community College.
Ellie Stengel, Tom Kircher, Mike Yost.
Hello, my name's Ellie Stengel, and I don't have much to say today, but I work for Senator Ben Hansen, and I just wanted to say that thank you for putting on this meeting, and thank you to the clerk's office for working out all the details. I know when you start something new and have a new meeting and hearing to figure out, it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of unknowns, but you worked through that. Thank you for doing that. I know that was a big task, and also for providing this opportunity for people to speak tonight. I wanted to also thank the presenters. I liked how Rich, I think it was, the first guy who started off, just realizing that, yes, property taxes and everything are going up, and not people like you don't want that to happen. I don't think it's bad, though, that we need responsibility and that we expect some accountability. So that's why I'd like to say thank you for the presenters who gave us an explanation, and the gentleman who started the public comment said that we need to create a dialogue, and I think that's what we're doing here tonight, and that takes part of your work, and that takes part of our work, and I'm grateful for that. The slides were, most of them were very easy to understand and explained some things really well, so thank you for that. I think Senator Hansen would just like to say that it's important that we're informed, that we're involved, and that there's accountability, and this shows that it's happening here tonight, so thank you very much.
My name is Tom Kircher. I live in Papillion School District. I've lived in it for about 30 years, a couple different houses. And the last 4 years, my property taxes have increased between $35,000 and $40,000 a year. And I haven't really noticed that my mill levies are going down any. So I guess my question is, with all this extra money, and I know I'm not the only person whose property taxes have gone up, our property valuations have gone up every year, where is all this extra money going? I mean, you're bringing in more money every year, and I haven't, like I say, I haven't seen my mill levies going down to compensate for the higher valuations. So I guess that's all I've got to say is you're getting more every year from us, and now you want even more. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Mike Yost. I live in La Vista on Cottonwood Avenue. I wonder why we only got 4 days notice of this. I would guess that there wouldn't be enough room in here if we'd have got 30 days notice so that everybody in the county knew. It's terrible that this is all that's here. I'm 70 years old, I'm retired on a fixed income, and you're raising my taxes 10%. I don't make any, never in my working life did I ever make any of the money that you guys are making. It's time to start thinking about working people and tighten your belt. If I go to the grocery store and my grocery bill's too high, I got to put something back on the shelf. Tighten it up.
Catherine Smith, Brian Rennie, Michael Thunder.
My name's Catherine Smith. I live in Bellevue, Ward 4. First thing I want to say, which was already mentioned, is that postcards need to go out earlier. I'm sitting next to a man who got his today, and I've seen several people on Nextdoor app saying they got theirs today. So everybody who got their postcard in the mail today missed yesterday's meeting. So that is a huge issue right there. The second thing on behalf of Bellevue, which I haven't heard said yet, so I'll mention it, is Mr. Severson, you need to put the percentage of increase or decrease for every line item on that budget before posting it on the website. And a side note is, on the postcards, every entity should have offered for a budget download prior to this meeting so that we had time to digest all the numbers. You also claim in the budget that an increase was required to provide more services, yet you also mentioned in that same paragraph was that services had to be reduced in the budget, such as roads and things like that. So I don't understand, those two comments contradict each other. I noticed that business tax revenue went down. Why are we not taxing businesses the way you're taxing your citizens? Salaries went up $5.5 million. That's over 22%. Anybody in here get a 22% raise in the last 10 years? Your entire life? So we need an explanation of that. Yeah, businesses need to start paying money. And another thing about businesses, stop giving businesses and corporations tax rebates and tax increment financing to do business here. We're paying tax at these businesses when we shop local. Why are they getting a break? The only people who made money during the pandemic was rich people, businesses. It was the greatest wealth transfer in our history. People got poorer, but businesses got richer. The valuation rate of increase that you mentioned, 8.7%, is higher than the nation's inflation rate. Explain that to us. And as far as that number goes, can we please let the dust settle on this mass exodus from blue states moving to Nebraska and other red states, grossly inflating our tax home prices, obviously falsely? My neighbor 3 doors down paid $40,000 over asking price for his house because he moved here from California. That should not affect our home valuations. Let the dust settle for a couple of years before you go out and try to hop on that train. Yes, some people have only spoken for a minute, so those of us who go over are taking their time, and I'm sure that they would be okay with that. And to Bellevue Public Schools bragging about the 1 penny decrease on somebody's $200,000 home valuation, that saves them $20, not even enough to go to fast food for a meal. Thank you. I yield any time that I would have had left to the next person.
Good evening. My name is Brian Rainey. I live in Gretna in Willow Park. I do have 2 kids currently in Gretna Public Schools. But let's look at the numbers. Since 2020, home valuations in our area have gone up 23%. During that same time, actual home ownership has gone down. There are more renters in our area now than there ever have been. Along with that, our poverty rate has actually gone up since then. Many families are already feeling this pinch. Since January 21, cost of living across the state of Nebraska has gone up 13.7%. Monthly costs for food have risen $107, shelter $69, transportation $311, energy $166. That's $653 a month, or almost $8,000 a year that our costs have already gone up. Adding this egregious 16% to our property taxes is just going to make things worse. You know, the public schools have already benefited a lot from these valuations. I'm not happy about mine either. Especially when my kids go to the football game and they're worried about their safety. My daughter in middle school has a child that has assaulted somebody in the school, and he's not even being removed from the school permanently. Why is this happening? Why are we paying these people this much money for things like this to happen? Things need to change. We don't need every student to have a computer. We don't need every student to have an iPad. That's a good way to cut costs, so we don't have to continue paying these ridiculous amount of taxes. Thank you.
My name is Michael Fender. I live in Bellevue at 13210 South 24th Street, zip code 68123. Well, with its usual amount of dexterity, the USPS dropped this in my mailbox along with the one for my next door neighbor. Out of curiosity, before I took it to their house, I compared them. Their house is assessed at $18,000 more than mine. The taxes for the schools on my sheet went up by a higher dollar amount than theirs did. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to check with your neighbors. I know you all got a piece of paper just like I did. My curiosity is, how many of those stupid math errors have been made? I don't mind paying taxes because you have to, but there's no reason I should pay more tax than I am supposed to. Somebody's going to have to give me an answer and fix it, and I'll be on the phone tomorrow. Thank you.
Loen Eby, Nikki Begeman, Bob Twiss.
Hello, my name is Loen Eby. I reside at 1401 Edgewater Circle in Papillion. Dr. Rick, you are the messenger, so my conversation is to the Papillion La Vista School Board. All of them are sitting in a row there. Thank you for your attendance. I did an analysis on the annual financial report for District 27, which is Papillion, and account number, so the AFR that was available was so I did an analysis from 2018, 2019, 2019 to 2020, and then 2020 to 2021 school year. The AFR for the 2021-22 is not available, but I will update my numbers. So what I did was I did an analysis for the revenues assessed for the 2018 school year. So that was account number, there's an account number, and all this information is available on my Facebook. But we assessed 56.8 million in 2018, and our enrollment was 11,707. And then for the next school year, the district assessed 58.7 million, and our enrollment was 11,810. And then in 2020 and 2021, the levy was 62.9 million, and our enrollment was 11,509. For the school year of 2021-2022, our enrollment is 11,646. And then for August of 2022, our enrollment is 11,650. So I think what school districts need to look at is the actual enrollment, because the taxes levied are going up. However, the enrollment is not fluctuating to the extent that's commensurate to the taxes. Dr. Rickley, I have my handouts. May I give that to you to give to the school board? And then the other thing I wanted to add, and I know I'm going over, is these cards, the county mails these out, and then they are charged back to the political subdivision. So we are actually charged for these postcards, and they did not arrive on time for us to attend.
Well, you guys are getting kind of beat up today, huh? Well, it's still continuing. So, you know, what you guys are resting your valuation on is the fact that a lot of people moved in from the blue states, and that's correct. But in our division ourselves is, I have 3 houses. One was valued at $179,000, but the person paid $216,000, which means they had to pay cash for the difference, because the valuation the bank is only going to loan is $179,000. So you're basing that valuation, you're making our taxes go up based on that valuation, and that is wrong. You should base it on the actual property value. The property value on ours has gone up $15,000 to $20,000 each year that we bought, and I've lived in Bellevue my entire life. My sons cannot afford to buy houses here because of the real estate boom, and now it's coming back down, but interest rates are going up because of the clown in the White House. However, what I'm saying is this does not affect just you guys, it affects our insurance. The insurance then raises our rates because the valuation on our houses is higher. The valuation that people overpaid on their houses. You say that the tax relief bill, the LB 973, will help. Ooh, a whole $1,000 that we may or may not get next year is not going to help. My kids can't even afford to rent because their rent at apartments have gone up so much, you know. And let's talk about fraud, waste, and abuse. During the flood, you got that business back there with all the houses that flooded, and who had to pay the demolition bill? Us taxpayers. It was $4 to $5, $7 million, and you didn't even go after the homeowner or whoever had that land. When we asked why you're not going after the landowner for that, we were told, oh, we can't do that. That's not our business. Why not? That landowner is responsible for all that land. They should have had to done it, and we should not have had to pay that huge a bill out of our pocket. That's just one example of the fraud, waste, and abuse. Let's tighten our belts. Let's figure this out. Let's open a dialogue. But how about you be honest? And you guys really don't need a raise until you can show us that you know how to handle the budget.
Good evening. My name is Bob Twist. I'm from Gretna, and I'm just a youngster. I moved to Gretna in 1978, and at that time, within a couple years, and you're going to find this hard to believe, but in Gretna, our taxes were going like this. Our enrollment was going like this, down. And we were the 6th highest taxing school entity in the entire state of Nebraska. And with my experience over 40-some years, you're going to have to stay involved. Get involved. Thank you for being here tonight. Also, thank you to the legislature. Senator Ben Hansen from Blair initiated this bill, and I'm glad they passed it because it woke up a lot of people. We've got to be involved locally. I also have some suggestions for handouts. Should have handouts for these type of meetings. Also, someone mentioned we'll put it on the website tomorrow. That doesn't do us much good. It should have been on the website beforehand. Also, the items on the screen, this doesn't pertain to all of you up there. Some of you did an excellent job, others not so. Should be big enough so we can read it, so we can see it. Also, there's a very important thing. I think it still applies. I come from a newspaper background, starting in high school. Each one of you has a designated legal newspaper, do you not? Yes? Yes? Want to see some hands? Okay, not just a nod of the head. Each one of these entities, once a year, designates a legal entity to publish their notices in, including the upcoming budget notices and the minutes of their meetings as well. And if not, they should also be on the website. But that's a legal requirement.
Sir, your time is
I
expired.
encourage you to stay involved. And there's a very important thing not said tonight, very important, and that is your local taxing entity. And we have a lot of them. And many of them have been mentioned tonight, even outside of city and schools as well. But we don't have the date, the full information, the place for the public hearing for their local entity budget. When will the vote be taken? We should know that tonight.
Thank you, sir.
It varies by different places. And the last thing is, I encourage you to be doggedly involved and persistent.
Hal Mangelson, Kimberly Adams, Judith Ackland.
Well, I've lived here. My name is Hal Mangelson. I live at 7809 Molokai Drive in Papillion. What I don't understand is with all the building that's going on in this county and tax revenues should be going up, taxes should be going down. I own a company, and when my sales go up, my expenses don't go up at the same ratio. And you guys continue to ask for more money, and then it would be very interesting to know how much money or how much compound interest over the years of 1% here, 1.5% here, 2% here, what it actually is over 40 years. I live in my house 40 years, and I end up paying, just to sleep in my own house, I end up paying $30 in taxes just to stay in my house. I'd rather see a flat tax where everybody is treated equal. So, one thing Sarpy County should be very proud of, I'm not, but in the whole state of Nebraska, Sarpy County is the #1 highest tax county in the state of Nebraska. And that is bullshit. Taxes should go down, and they never do. People say the mill levy is going to go down or whatever else. It never does. My house went up one year over $75,000. What did the county and the state give away to OPPD, away to the concessions to Facebook, Google, and Amazon? We are in a recession. Think we are? You're a fool. When does this end? Nah. With this, like I said, with all this new building going on, taxes should be going down, not up. And I'm tired because all of this seems like a bunch of drunken sailors spending our money.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Adams. I live at 1202 Thomas Drive in Bellevue. We've lived here since 2010. My husband's retired Air Force. I'm also a vet. we did love Bellevue. We're not so much in love with it anymore. We're looking to move out. People have pretty much said everything I wanted to say. The fact that my property taxes continue to go up every single year. Not once has it stayed the same or gone down. This year it went up by 20,000. How is that possible when we've made no improvements? How is it assessed? I would like an accounting. I would like to know how you decide these things. It's also been mentioned, how unprofessional of you to not have a budget prepared in detail. Not just a screen up there that we couldn't possibly see. But let me go ahead and my husband had to take a screenshot or a picture. Let's see. Now I can't see it. It's still not very good. Well, there basically was, yeah, I still can't see it. Yeah, thank you. The increases in taxes for people to get basically a slush fund. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. The point is, my groceries have gone up exponentially. My housing is now going to go up. My gas bill is going to go up. My electric bill is up. Natural gas is up. Everything's up, and you still want to increase our taxes. This is not the time to do it. You all need to live like we live. The schools need to cut back as well. I understand the teachers would like an increase, but none of us are getting one. It's time for everybody to be responsible. And there needs to be an accounting how exactly you're spending our money. Not just saying we need it, but a detailed accounting. Be more professional. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Judith Eklund. I live at 9203 Vallaretta Drive, Gretna, which is north of Gretna, so I'm not in the city limits, but we're in the school district. So we didn't get to vote on that new athletic thing that's going up, but we have to help pay for it because it was part of the school bond issue. And so I'm a little frustrated about that. But the point I wanted to make, and I agree with much of what people have said tonight, and I do think that you should have been more proactive in having the information available to us ahead of time. And it's frustrating that we didn't get these cards earlier so we could attend, more people could have attended the meeting. But we bought our house, or we moved here in 2010, and our property assessment, tax assessment has gone up almost 40% since then. Our taxes have gone up 45%. The Gretna School District portion has gone from less than 55% of that to over 60% of that. So it's very frustrating. My husband is retired and he's fixed income, but I do want to address the point that was made earlier about businesses having to pay more taxes. Most of the businesses in Sarpy County are small businesses, and I own one, and we did not do well during the pandemic, as has been stated. And we struggled, and a lot of small businesses went out of business because they couldn't keep their employees going. And so anyway, the point is you guys need to be more fiscally responsible and tighten your belts just like the rest of us are.
Dean Johnson, Jolene Hayes, Megan Curran.
Hi, I'm Dean Johnson. 9506 South 26th Ave, Bellevue, Sunrise Edition. I just have a couple comments, and I think you've heard this all night long. What the taxpayer really needs is, he needs lower mill levies, he needs lower assessments, and he needs lower taxes. And especially this is pointed to the city of Bellevue. You got to get your act together. You got to get fiscally responsible and not just talk about maintaining mill levy down there. What you really need to do is you have to start cutting people, and you have to start cutting budgets. It's got out of hand in Bellevue. I mean, it's just crazy. There's no reason for it. Another thing I'd like to say is, being one of the lucky ones that got annexed up in Sunrise a couple years back, I thought I was being annexed by Bellevue, but really what I was being annexed by is OPS. OPS now has 3 schools that they've built in northern Bellevue: Chandler View, Pawnee, Gildner, and Forest Station. And now we get to pay for Douglas County bonds out of Bellevue. What the heck is the city doing? Why are they not working on this? Why are they not figuring out a way that Bellevue doesn't have to pay OPS tax? Last thing I'd like to say is there should be a date on this form here. It says notice of proposed tax increase. Okay, if it's a proposed tax increase, when do we get to go to a meeting that affects the change of the taxes? I mean, we're not voting for it here. Who is it actually already done? I mean, when do we get to actually affect the tax change? Actually say, no, we don't want more taxes. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jolene Hayes, 19004 Sycamore Drive. We're one of the new subdivisions in Gretna, but my other half, who was busy mowing the lawn tonight since we got the notice 1 hour before we found out about this meeting. It came in the mail today. We check our mail every day. So I went on his behalf. He's been here for 14 years, I believe, in Gretna, and has seen it go up and up and up every single year, as everybody else has been stating. And when we saw it this year, we just about fell over because we just bought a new house together. And it's a little scary when you look at how much it's going to go up. The thing that I was the most concerned about when I polled all of my neighbors, half of them hadn't even received it yet. The ones that did go and check their mailbox just got it today. And I know this law, this new truth in taxation, is supposed to give us 7 days notice. But there's no, if they don't, there's no recourse. There's no penalty if they don't. So I would encourage Senator Hansen, who proposed this bill in the first place and encouraged this, to put some teeth behind that. All of my neighbors would be here if they had had enough notification. So that's all I really wanted to say. Thanks.
I'm Megan Curran, and I live at 1608 Chaput Drive in Bellevue. I am retired Air Force, and I've been here for more than 15 years. We bought our house in 2014, and we've seen our taxes go up over $50,000 in that time, and this particular year it went up over $23,000 in our valuation. I don't know why Danny Pittman's not here. Our county assessor should be here because that's what this is about. Our taxes didn't go up, our assessed values went up. So I want to know why that office decided to assess all of our values so high. I looked on the website and I saw that they based it on cost of rebuild. The county's not rebuilding my house. That's my insurance's job. So the county's not doing that. Also, City of Bellevue, loved your presentation. However, I think you forgot that with sales tax that you're getting, all of the inflation of everything costing more means you're going to get more sales tax. And you didn't figure that into your budget. So I think you need to go back and do some work. And as far as all of the apartment buildings around here, they're building apartment buildings like crazy. What are they paying? What are they paying to be able to open up all these brand new apartment buildings everywhere? So, I mean, if you're going to allow all that to happen, I think they have to pay their share as well. Thank you.
Gunther Feist, Sam Person, David DiStefano.
Ginther Feisty, Gretna. I got my card at noon today. That's the first I heard about it. Okay. It's a bad idea to raise taxes during a time of inflation and recession. I'm being taxed out of my home. I'm a retired deputy sheriff of Sarpy County. I worked 29 years. Every year my tax has gone up. Every year I budgeted. This is what I got to set aside for my taxes. It never works. It keeps going up. I'm now on a fixed income. I got to live within my means. I need to make hard choices. You all do too. Need instead of want. Pick what you need, not what you want. Stick to the basics. Build schools, not palaces. If you need more money, use a bond issue. Don't increase taxes. Let the voters decide. Also, I'm a Navy veteran. Stop disparaging drunken sailors. When they run out of money, they stop spending.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Person. I moved here in 2004 and built a house in Papillion. My stepkids went to this school. My younger is a teacher that was at OPS and now is in District 66. But while people point out, and I'm not going to rehash other things, but I do want to talk about the valuations. Where my mom lives, somebody paid $400,000 more for a house, and they add that in. But when a house is gifted, they don't take that into consideration. So what we need to do on these valuations is get a little smarter and throw out the top and bottom 20% so you get a better edge of it. But you know, even in California, you only pay taxes on what you buy the house for. They don't increase the valuation every year. And mine has gone up ridiculously high. The other thing I want to point out, I was on our SID board, and I spent 13 of the 17 years I've lived in my house on our HOA board, is that these meetings where they sit, they tell us something, and we talk back. That's not a dialogue. That is not a dialogue. A dialogue is if these people stood up and took direct questions and answered them directly. That is a dialogue. That's what we need. If you ask them how much money they make a year, none of them are going to stand up and tell us, and we're paying for it. So I don't want to take any more time. I thank everybody for taking interest in their government. It's about time we did, because it's getting out of control. When you spend other people's money, it's easy, but they need to suck it up and look at the logoing in this building. How the heck much did that cost to put little Titans logos in every door and every room and everywhere all over? And they waste money on crap like this, and you ask a kid about Hitler, and they can't even tell you anything about him. And if you ask them about Thomas Jefferson, they say he's a racist. So what the heck is going on?
Hello.
My name is David DiStefano. I live at 21534 Amber Drive in Gretna. Most people in Gretna probably know my folks moved out here in 1979 into my junior year of high school. I graduated from Gross. My mom worked for the school system for 32 years as a teacher's aide. She was known by everyone here in Gretna, students, families, teachers, principals, as Mrs. D. My mom is now 80 years old. My dad passed away a year and a half ago. She's still living in the same house they bought in '79. Her taxes with this valuation that, by the way, we got today, and I guarantee this auditorium would be filled if people would have got these in a timely manner. Anyway, as someone mentioned earlier, out of the 93 counties in Sarpy County has the highest property tax rate. Out of that, the city of Gretna and their school district has the highest property tax rate, especially the schools. Their spending is out of control. I have lived in my house since 2008. My valuation has not been increased once. I have protested my taxes for 14 straight years. Every year I get rejected. My property taxes as 2021-2022 totaled almost $6,000. Of that amount, $913 went for other entities in the property tax. 4,667 of that was for Gretna schools. Where's this money going? Why are we spending so much? Why can't Gretna cut back on their spending? The state of Nebraska is third in the nation in property taxes. When they call the state of Nebraska the Great Life, and Gretna has their signs all over saying, oh no, Gretna's the Great Life, Nebraska's it should be Gretna's the tax life, the state of Nebraska is the tax me state. Anyway, the school board's going to vote on this on Monday night's meeting. It's cut and dry, so basically everybody protesting and arguing is not going to do any good because you all have made up your mind. Didn't give us a chance to vote, which is wrong. Thank you.
Jeremy Nelson, Joaquin Guerrero, Randy Penke.
My name is Jeremy Nelson. I live out in Gretna. I had no idea I was coming here tonight. I received a text message from my wife at 5 o'clock that she got this mailer in the mail today. So I did not have time to prepare a speech. I've been furiously texting away on my phone trying to come up with something. This sort of action gives me a little faith and transparency as to how our money from our property taxes is being spent within the school district. Unprofessional is a good word for it. My wife and I both work in public service. With this alone, nothing else included, not our property tax assessment, our property taxes go up $47,000 a year. We both, like I said, we both work in public service, and there's an increasing likelihood that we will have to sell our dream home as it will become unaffordable solely because of taxes. Not because we lost a job, took a pay cut, government taxes. Inflation is hovering around 9%, and this is a perfect example of the butterfly swings. I wonder if much consideration was given to the increasing number of children who will inevitably be receiving subsidized lunches, or parents who are no longer able to provide enrichment activities for their children. I contributed things to my daughter's classroom this year, as I have every year. Things like pencils, Kleenex, hand sanitizer, things like that. Basic school supplies, which I don't have a problem with, short of my valuation being increased $47,000. We all want good schools. I do wonder the last time a tax levy was ever reduced in the Gretna Public School District. Presumably state aid at some point will come back. I stand here with utmost confidence the levy would not go down when that happens. I assume state aid has gone down commensurate with an increase in property taxes. If you look around the county is exploding with growth. There are new homes being built everywhere. Taxes are being paid on those as well. I was not given time to research this because of the short notice. I don't know that the presentation necessarily adequately answered that question for me. And I don't know if you would be willing to answer that as to how that difference is made up. If there is actually, that's the reason the state decreases it, is because you're getting more money from property taxes or not. Thank you.
Gretna has 72.6 million in the bank. They don't need a decrease in that. Hi, my name is Joaquin Guerrero. I'm from Bellevue, 7106 South 28th Street. And just like many people have already spoken, I pretty much don't have very much new. I'm just going to change your perspective a little bit. U.S. Navy retired. I was a social worker. I currently am a social worker. And just like you said earlier, valuations go up, valuations come down. So does, pretty much everybody's budget and bills. However, just like some of the people who have spoken already about how they're on a fixed income, I technically am basically a fixed income right now myself. And basically, NASA had a saying that they would say, better, faster, cheaper. Well, that makes sense. And, if you take it all the way to the extreme, basically you can do everything instantly for nothing. Kind of a little bit of perspective on that, but if you think about it, we all have to do, efficient, we have to be competitive. Competition brings down costs. I'm for the police, I'm for the teachers, I'm for, the streets and everything else. I want high quality, but I also want it to be the best for the price. I don't want to waste money. In the Navy, they had a whole big old sign that says, basically fraud, waste, and abuse. They also had another one called OPM, and OPM was Office of Personnel Management. However, lately I've been hearing, and this is something that kind of gets to me, is it's other people's money. Usually if it's your own money, you're going to be more careful with it. And if you're not careful with it, then that to me is fraud, waste, and abuse. Now, living within our budget is important and everything. I have some questions that are rhetorical, but basically I'm not going to complain about too much more here, but basically it would be nice to have a forum where we could all talk and dialogue and work together instead of just saying comments. Comments are nice, but basically my biggest one here is we need to have a way of feeding into the system, have an office of fraud, waste, and abuse, or some kind of complaints, or some kind of way of showing that you care and that we can have some impact. Thank you.
Let's get this down to my size. And my flip phone don't do anything that these guys have all got. Old school. Anyways, my name is Randy Penke. I live at 16203 South 87th Street, Sarpy County. So I get taxed from Sarpy County, Springfield School District, and Papillion, for library. So I get hammered from 3 areas. And my evaluation actually jumped $100,000 this last year. Now, I protested, and they know me personally, the referees down there, and they did drop it to 98,000 increase. So I was tickled pink. So, but it kind of started out, I moved in with my parents in La Vista in 1960. We didn't have schools, we went to cottages. There were no schools in La Vista. So, a lot of this stuff, and our old high school downtown when we were Class B, we had a gravel track. Hard to take corners on a gravel track. But like I said, after spending 8 years on city council in La Vista, I thought, I got to get out of the politics stuff, so I bought a 20-acre cornfield south Papillion and built my own house. So, but like I said, I've been installing doors and windows for 50 years. The body is starting to go kaput on me, and the taxes are going to probably force me out of my own place. But $100,000 increase, and basically what is acreages got hammered severely. They went after acreages really bad this year, and like I said, Pittman ain't here to defend it, but like I said, so that's kind of my story, and not as good a story as the rest of everybody, but that's mine.
Richard Griswold, Jerry Lloyd, Christine Tadich.
Hello, glad you lowered the mic for me. My name's Richard Griswold. I live at 2461 Stillwater Drive here in Papillion. And someone said that the school board's here, and I would hope that everyone who's going to be voting on Monday is here to listen to the people, because we do not want to approve going beyond the 2% that's allowed by the state. Am I right? Hal mentioned it earlier, and I kind of spitballed this. There are approximately 15 new developments in Sarpy County in the last year. If you take 200 homes of those 15 developments, houses ranging between 400 and 600,000, average it out to 500,000 based on my taxes, that's another $45 million per year that's going into the budget. Where's that money going? So I didn't see anything up there representing that. The other thing was, when I saw the evaluation come in, I looked in Council Bluffs. A house similar to mine, I'd pay half as much in taxes as what I'm paying here in Papillion. So I hope those people who are voting say, no, people do not want to go beyond this 2%. Thank you. Someone else can have another 37 seconds.
Yeah, hi, my name's Jerry Lloyd. I moved in from Douglas County to Sarpy County about a couple years ago. My wife finally found her dream home. Worked hard all my life to try to make and pay her bills and everything, and I feel like this whole thing is kind of like three-card money. I kind of feel like I've been raped. My taxes went up $69,963, and all I can say, it's supposed to be we the people, not we the politicians, and we all have to stick together and work together and find some kind of means where we all can come together and make Sarpy County a better place to live without ridiculous spending. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to take this over to the next person talking. If I make it. Hello. Thank you so much. You bet. I had foot surgery.
Hello, my name is Christine Tadich, and I live at 15006 Normandy Boulevard in Bellevue. And I thought it was important as a realtor to explain to anyone who's a senior, 65 or older, please take advantage of the homestead exemption. It is a sliding scale where you do not have to pay your full property taxes, and it's based on your income. It's something that Nebraska offers. You can live in a $500,000 home. You can live in a $50,000 home. If your income is set, go on our Nebraska website. And if you're 65 or older, you can get a sliding glass scale. You can pay much, much less in property taxes. And please share that with your neighbors or anyone that you know is elderly that's having a problem with their property tax increases. Second, Bellevue, I've been very unhappy. I wasn't fortunate enough to raise children in Bellevue, but obviously I paid property taxes. And the one thing I don't understand about Bellevue is they've never allotted enough people for their graduations. In the city of Bellevue, if you graduate from Bellevue West or Bellevue East High School and you have a large family, you're only allowed 6 tickets to the graduation. And I don't know who on the board of Bellevue has never thought how can a family pick? Well, no aunts or uncles, no sister, you only get 6. It just seems so petty when other schools in the same district are able to accommodate the large families. And I hope our Bellevue schools, since they're here, you start looking at that and fix it. As for everything else, I'm in full support of not getting the cards. I think we should know who failed us in that, and I think we should all get a refund in our subdivisions for having to pay for something none of us received.
We're done. Okay, are there any further comments from our audience? Anyone wants to come up to speak? Please come up to the microphone. Please state your name and address when you get the microphone.
Well, since there's no mic, I can just scream.
No, sir. Thank you very much.
My name's Edward Schmidt. I live in Lakewood Villages in Bellevue. I have a few concerns that I just want you guys to be aware of. One is that the statute does state 7 days advance notice. I think it's irresponsible of all the agencies involved to hold this without giving that amount of time. I also think it's irresponsible of the city of Bellevue and the Bellevue Public Schools to, in my case, increase my property taxes by 9 and 7.5% respectively during this time without any advance notice. The numbers on here, when I tried to call the city of Bellevue, couldn't get an answer. So I'm not sure what this card was actually meant to do other than say, come here and they'll tell you that they're going to raise your taxes but not explain to you exactly why. Thank you.
Saw another person coming? Yes, sir. You'll need to come up to the microphone in a minute, sir. This gentleman's ahead of you. Please state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Yeah, my name is Mario Hatcher at 2006 Fairview Road in Bellevue. So understand the weight of positions that we have here, the weight that you have to carry to adhere to policies and procedures. I also understand that when we don't have empathy, when the smirks are coming from the person from Bellevue consistently, there's no empathy or compassion that I see by your facial expression. Hope our Mayor Hike sees that, and hopefully, I don't know how things can change, but that's not cool, my man. It's not cool. It shows you don't care. So, you can shrug your shoulders, but we've seen it. I was watching you. So as someone who lives in the city, been working for nonprofits probably for a good 10 to 12 years. We tend to forget to put ourselves in the other person's shoes, that people do struggle. When's the last time you've gone out and helped somebody off the street, homeless people, give a box of food? People are struggling. Once you go down and start, maybe you do. I don't want to prejudge. But maybe you forgot where you came from. And also, the struggle is this. You get paid. Regardless of what happens to people here, you'll continue to get a paycheck because you work for the government. You work for the city. So really, there is no really care because you know you'll get a consistent paycheck. Where people here are losing money because of the taxes. So quite honestly, it's pretty deceptive for y'all to be giving us these cards in the manner they did and not making these decisions, which shows that now there's government control that says now you have more power than we do. So then I guess, I don't know if your positions are voted on or what that is, but this has got to stop. Our mayors from Bellevue is in here. Our mayor from Papillion is in here. We have some board members in here. Go talk to them. Let them know your frustration. That's what they're here for. That's what we're called, to be humble, transparent, and walk with integrity to make sure people understand why you're doing what you're doing. But this is totally uncalled for from you guys. Professional people. I mean, I almost want a gun for some of these people's jobs. I really do. It's putting a fire in me because this is not cool and how people are being treated because you forgot what compassion is, empathy is, and think you can take control because you think you're in power. So I got some decisions making to do, so thank you.
Please state your name and
Just
address,
another
please.
little tidbit. The 8 years I spent on city council in Vista, we made $500. We made $500 a year. That almost covered my Tums and Metamucil or whatever I had to take to go through the meetings. So, as a public servant, we didn't go for pay raises back then. You know, you're doing your job to supposedly help the people, not yourself. So we stayed at $500 a year. So just another little tidbit on how it used to be.
Do we have any other comments from the audience?
I have a question. Did you guys hear anybody say increase our taxes this entire night? That's what I thought.
Okay. If there are no more questions from or comments from our audience, I would like again to thank Papillion La Vista Schools South once again for allowing us to use their space, as well as all of our presenters and our audience for coming to this joint public hearing. With no further comments from our citizens, the time is 7:55, and I formally declare that this Sarpy County joint public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.